All right, learning target 2.2. I can create a relief sculpture. I'm gonna look down here where it says step 1. So you guys are choosing 2 facial features that you're gonna use into this relief facial fracture. Have those traced out on tracing paper. Cut the tracing paper as a pottery shard or a broken piece of ceramic. So what I did for you guys was I actually made the tracing paper into little broken pottery pieces. So you're gonna take your self-portrait, and I'm gonna use my friend's Johnny's because it's really good. And you have to trace at least 2 features. So this piece is big enough, I can get an eyebrow, an eye, a nose, the beginning of a lip, an ear, and some hair. So I'm gonna start to trace all of these features. All right, so my tracing is really just the contour lines, right? It's all the lines that are describing what I was tracing. I didn't focus on values, shading, anything like that. So then you're gonna bring this to the teacher. So it says on our steps, bring your tracing paper, cut out to the teacher to get your slab of clay. So this is like your ticket to get your clay. So got my clay right here. All right, so once you have your clay, this is called a slab. When you're working with your clay, you have to have a piece of fabric on your desk because you don't want your clay to stick to your desk. So I'm on step 2. It says pick up your slab and drop it on the table a couple of times to create a more organic shape. So by doing this, I'm also popping some of the bubbles inside. And I'm flattening this out. And I'm getting dust everywhere. Should probably put my mask back on. All right, think of it like a pizza dough. I'm also trying to flatten this slab out a little bit. Okay, so now to roll out my slab, I need 2 rulers that are the same width. I need to put that on either side of my slab. And I need a slab roller. So what I'm doing is I'm rolling my slab out like so. All right, so it can't go down any farther past those rulers. So that's as thin as it's gonna be. Then I'm gonna take my little tiny piece of tracing paper and I'm gonna cut this whole shape out. All right, I'm gonna use that scary looking dentist tool. Oh, it's sticking to the fabric. All right, so all this extra, I don't need. I might need a little piece for when I start doing the face, but the rest of this, I don't want this to dry out. So I'm gonna put this back in the bag. Okay, move this up here. All right, step 3, put your tracing paper over your slab and retrace your facial features, pushing the lines into the clay. So I don't want to use this sharp tool because I don't want to puncture through the tracing paper. So I'm going to use a pencil. And it might go through a little bit, but it's all right. So I'm trying to make an impression in the clay. I want the clay to have these lines. So my goal is I'm pushing the lines into the clay. And I can always pick this up and check it so I can see that impression where the eyebrow is. This tracing paper is getting really wet from the clay, so it's really fragile. Get the eyelid. I'm not going to draw the lashes because I'm going to sculpt the lashes. But since I already figured out the proportions on the drawing, now I don't have to do that again. I know where my mouth is in relationship to my eyes, my nose. And then braids. Okay, so I can lift this up, and then it's got the impression of the face on there. All right, step 4, begin creating different levels of relief. What needs to go back for sunken relief? What needs to raise up for low relief? And what would stick out the farthest for high relief? So just like we did with the cardboard, now we're using different tools to create these different levels of relief. Okay, for sunken relief, I want to gouge my eyes out. That sounds fun, right? So I'm gonna use that scary looking scooping dentist tool, and I'm gonna get the whole football shape of my eye. So I'm scooping it away. It's okay if you go all the way down into the bottom. I think that's fine. I'm not trying to though. All right, so I now have this empty cavity, right? I'm also gonna try to use my fingers and kind of push it out a little bit more. I'm trying to get my finger under. Think about this being skin. I'm gonna try to get that up. Same thing for the top, that top lid, kind of pinch it up a little bit because I'm gonna make an eyeball. I'm gonna put the eyeball inside of here. All right, really scary looking, right? I spread this whole thing, this whole eye open. Here's some of my extra clay. So I'm gonna make an eyeball. Roll this into a ball. That's very large. We wanna make this kind of proportional. And our eyeball is round. It's like bulging out of there. Let's make it a little smaller. What can we compare this to? I don't really know. It's about that big. Okay. So I'm gonna put the eyeball in there, kind of push it in a little bit, and then I wanna put those eyelids back on top. I wanna try to push that in there and try to create the shape of my eye again. So I'm pushing, I'm using tools, I'm pinching. I'm gonna pinch where it comes to the tear duct, pinch that a little thinner. I wish I could make that ball a little smaller now. Could also use this tool if I want to define this better. Can scrape that out. Push that eyelid back up a little bit more. Put the eyelid back down. So you're using tools and you're using your fingers to create this eyeball that is inside of this eyelid. The eyelid should be holding the eyeball in. And then to get the iris and the pupil, we're going to incise or draw this on here. So again, this is going to be our sunken relief where we're incising or we're drawing these marks on here. And I don't want the clay to be sticking out because that makes it sharp. All right, I want the pupil also to be kind of carved out. So Michelangelo did this out of marble of his famous sculpture called David, and he actually carved out hearts in its pupils. Not because he loved David, but so that the light would cast shadows in there. Okay, so I want my pupil to be sunk in relief because we're gonna make that, it's gonna end up being black. And then I outlined the shape of the iris. So it's still, again, more sunk in relief. The eyelid is holding in the eye. And if I wanna still try to make it look more like me, I can still try, like, not like me, this is someone else, but this kind of curves down, right? So maybe I can use my fingers, try to pinch that down. And then the eyelid, I also need to draw this eyelid line. I'm drawing it by incising the sunken relief. Okay, eyelashes, let's see if I can attach. I can't do tiny, thin little eyelashes, so let's see what I can do. Maybe I can make a small coil. So a coil is like a snake. So remember I told you guys to make your lash line thicker on the top right, and then it gets thinner as it goes to the tear duct. So maybe I can do the same thing for that eyelid line. Maybe I can just make it thicker. By the way, if this is all fresh clay, I did this all in one day. I don't need to slip and score anything together. We're going to talk about slipping and scoring when we add old clay to new clay. Okay, so now I want to try to smooth this together. If you want to try to sculpt lashes, go for it. I think I need to fix my lid line, smooth that out. So first I'm going to smooth on this coil I just added to the lid. And guys, clay is just like drawing. Just because you make a mark, just because you put something on there, doesn't mean it's done. You gotta keep working on it to make it right. Okay, I'm gonna smooth this in. Smooth the clay together. Get that bottom lid defined. Clay has lots of boogers, you're gonna notice. So really scrape those boogers out, clean it up. All right, get that top lid back on there. Okay, I'm happy with that eye. When it dries, I can clean it up maybe a little better. Okay, for the eyebrow, remember I want this to pop out in relief. So a couple things I can do, I can transfer, just like we did with cardboard, I can transfer this shape onto another slab. And then I can cut that out. Okay. So that's one way to get that eyebrow shape. And then it should fit right there. All right, so if this is fresh clay, all I have to do is kind of push it down a little bit and then smooth out those edges. When I mean smooth out those edges, I mean smooth, let's see if you can see this, smooth the seam together. It should be seamless. Now, if a day has passed and I did this yesterday and now I'm adding the eyebrow another day, it is old clay and new clay. So it has to be attached differently. So to attach old clay to new clay, we slip and score. So scoring is making marks. You're roughing up the surface. Score and score. And then slip is really watered down clay. Oh gosh, I just dripped water. Kind of like your mortar between the bricks. All right, now I smush. So when you smush, you actually have to like push kind of hard to smush it together. And then I smooth, right? I'm not going to leave it a mess like that. So I'm going to pick this up so you guys can see it. I'm going to use this scooping tool, kind of clear that stuff away. I can also use, there's different tools you guys can use. A popsicle stick. You can also use your fingers. But you got to get rid of the seams. Again, it should be seamless. So I'm trying to smooth that together. You can use your fingers. And then for the eyebrow, just like we talked about for the cardboard and the drawing, the eyebrow should have texture. So this is a great tool for adding in your texture. Think about the hair, what direction the hair goes in. And that's what you're drawing with this tool. Gonna have some stragglers. If I want to smooth it out more, make it kind of gradually go up into the eyebrow, I can do that too. You are in control of your clay. Don't let your clay control you, because it'll try. Okay, there's my eyebrow. Thinking about that eye again. I'm wondering, maybe when it dries a little bit more, I can actually put my tool into that thicker lid line and spread out some eyelashes. Might be better if it's a little drier though. Maybe I can scoop out. Go back into that eyelid. So sometimes the clay gets a little easier to work with when it's a little drier. Okay, I like the lines there. All right, the nose. So again, the nose should be the highest relief, right? So I just used a slab to get the eyebrow. I want the nose to come out really far. So I'm actually going to try to make this thicker. We don't want air bubbles in here. I'm trying to pop the air bubbles here. All right, so I want kind of like a block, basically. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sculpt this to fit this nose shape. To attach this clay to here, I have to slip and score. Also, I'm gonna try to draw out my nose shape again. It's kind of hard to see. Here's the nostril. And then I want to make my nose gradually, get bigger. So it's going to be pretty smooth here at the forehead, and then it's going to gradually rise up. All right, so I have to slip and score. So I can add the slip first, just that watered down clay. Same thing here. Okay, wipe that off. And then I can score, slip and score. Oh wait, let me go this way. And then you smush. You slip, you score, you smush. So for the nose, I want to have a bigger piece than what I need, so I can just take away, like Michelangelo carving David out of a block of marble. It's exactly like what I'm doing here. So again, I want it to be kind of thin. I want my slab to be thin up here, right? In between the eyebrows. And then it's going to gradually go up. I also don't want all that clay hanging off the end. Let's see if I can just try to slice it. Okay, I sliced it. All right, so if you notice, it's not that close to the eye, right? Do you see that difference? So I'm gonna have to start sculpting away. I'm like a plastic surgeon, sculpting out this nose from this flesh. Using the scary dentist tool. And then what happens, this line usually curves up to the eyebrow. So I'm trying to be intentional with my tool. I'm trying to also point to the eyebrow. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is think about high level of relief at the ball of the nose, trying to shape the nose, trying to get this to be even. You've got your tools, and you've got 10 fingers you can use. Want that nostril kind of curve. Make sure you're smushing it down onto the clay. So it being a sculpture, we got to pick it up, kind of look at different angles. I could always add clay to this also. If I want it still to be, you know, higher up in relief, if I want that ball to come out higher, right? I can score, slip, score, slip, and smush. I can still add clay on. Clay is really nice because it can be additive or subtractive. If you're sculpting something out of marble, you can't add marble to marble. You can only take away. Okay, I'm going to smooth the bottom of the nose together. Keep smoothing it out. So some people have a really defined nostril. And you're going to use that scooping tool to do that. All right, also, we need the holes to breathe out of, right? So this is a sculpture. So we got to pick it up, look at it from different angles. So that nose hole, you're going to scoop it out. What that's going to do is make this clay lighter, and in case we have any air bubbles in there, it's kind of popping those, getting rid of those, just in case. So really get up in that nasal cavity. Scoop as much clay out as you can. It's also helping us not waste clay, because we don't need that. All right, if you've got a piercing on your nose, this would be the time to do it. All right, pierce your nose. You can get in, now that I cleared my nose out, I can get in there and really pinch it more. Okay, I think that's pretty good for now. All right, I'm just gonna keep going. So same thing, I'm gonna add 2 coils for the lips. I'm gonna slip and score. I'm gonna make the bottom lip come out a little farther. This student added kind of like a contour line on the cheekbone. So maybe I wanna make the cheek come out a little higher up here and then go down. So I'm gonna add clay here. And then I'm also gonna start sculpting out the braids and then adding braids here. So in this example, the student added coils to be her hair on the right. All right, ready, set, go.